them over in the car. They got you down.
Yeah, it's, it is.
That's Florida. I'm Florida. Red Bull, Red Cat. Yes,
Water or what?
Hey, I think we're going with the bear fan out here. Or inland, whatever.
Whatever works. Okay. The time is now 6 o'clock and we will call this meeting to order.
Heavenly Father, we come before you today asking for wisdom, clarity, and unity as we conduct the city business. Guide our decisions so they serve the best interest of all citizens. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right. All council members are present. Do we have any public comments? Yeah. Thank you very much. All right. Mr. and Mrs. Dunn, the stage is yours.
Sir, and I reserved 3 minutes for during the discussion and action items.
Okay.
Kind of hear what y'all have to say first before we get any comments.
Yes, sir, he wanted to speak on
Okay.
that.
Proclamation, A, Fair Housing Month. Bear with me, I've got a 3-page letter to read. I'm Michael Durham, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Richwood, Texas, do hereby the month of April as Fair Housing Month. Whereas Title 8 of the Civil Rights Act of 1968 as amended prohibits discrimination in housing and declares it as national policy to provide within constitutional limits for fair housing in the United States, and whereas the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development has initiated the sponsorship of activities during the month of April of each year designed to reinforce the department's commitment to the law and concept of fair housing and equal opportunity, and whereas the city of Richwood affirmatively supports the efforts of the federal government and the state of Texas to assure equal access to all Americans to rental housing and homeownership opportunities, and whereas the city of Richwood welcomes this opportunity to reaffirm its commitment to provide access to housing all residents without regard to race, color, religion, sex, disability, familial status, and or national origin, and whereas the city of Richwood affirmatively supports programs that will educate the public concerning their rights to access housing opportunities and participate in efforts with other organizations to assure that every person their right to fair housing, and whereas the city of Richwood is honored to join the federal government, the state of Texas, Missouri County, and local jurisdictions across America in celebrating the right of all citizens to live where they choose without fear of discrimination. Now, therefore, we, the city of Richwood, the City Council of Richwood, do hereby proclaim April as a month to celebrate and honor all efforts which guarantee the right to live free of discriminatory housing practices, and proclaim this month as. Okay. I can keep reading if you want. All right. Fair Housing Month, guys. Got to catch that. Okay, we're going to move on to consent agenda. A, budget report, February 2026. Okay. B, approval, appoint Rebecca Cortez to serve on the Keep Richwood Beautiful Committee. C, approval of minutes from special called meeting held February 25th, 2026. And D, approval of minutes from regular meeting held on March 9th, 2026.
Make a motion to approve consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let the motion stand. Motion carries. Let's move on to discussion and action items. A, discuss and consider possible action regarding current policies and procedures for debris burning and the associated permit process.
Mayor, Council, this is brought before Council for discussion. Several weeks ago, we had a permitted fire go uncontained, and a fire department response was required. And we thought this would be a good time to bring it before council for review and discussion, to see if you wanted to change anything, look at anything, strengthen anything, or just leave as is. I attached in your council packet as all of the ordinances that were applied in this particular case, but I think the one main driving force behind this was when the ordinance was brought forth, Oakwood Shores essentially wasn't there. And I think the safety factor now is it is a little bit more densely populated, and it's posing some concern. And that's why it's before you now.
Can we pull the ordinance up on the screen so that everybody can see what it says?
It's been the same since 1992. There have been a couple of small revisions. In 2024, we made one, but essentially they've been the same most of the time.
Is there a specific concern that so is it not land clearance that's being, I guess I'm trying to figure out what
Sure.
problem is.
I was only aware of one time the permitted fires become uncontained, but apparently there were two. I just wasn't made aware of the second one, but yeah, but that concerns me a little bit, because of Oops is upwards of $500,000 home going up in flames, and I think the timeliness of when you pull a permit and when you actually burn, leaving it up to a citizen or independent contractor to determine whether the conditions are right for that burn. Maybe that would be the point we need to look at, is maybe if they pull a permit, it has to be done like right away that day, or we can send Irene or the fire department or somebody to go out and look, what is the actual wind conditions, what the actual soil, is it dry, is it wet, because I think if we issue a permit like a week prior and somebody's burns a week later, well, it could be 25-mile-an-hour winds, it could not have rained, it leaves too many variables. That's in my mind.
How long is that permit good for?
Yeah. Apparently they've had some for quite a while.
I mean, between the time that they get approval, there is a timeline
Yeah.
of when they can.
It's a month.
It's 30 days.
It's 30 days.
30 days?
You have a
Okay.
month.
Sometimes it would take longer to get somebody out there to look because it was at one point just being done by the fire department. When Marcus was here, he was able to take it over and was able to do them a lot more time.
Yeah, when I spoke to a fire chief, I was only aware of one incident. I wasn't aware of the second one, but most people use common sense when they burn, but we had the one incident apparently. So I don't know where there's room to change that is the thing. I was told that the individual had 4 big piles. Fire chief said only light off 2 at max. He felt the need to light off all 4, which burned his own tree. But I don't know what would change to do any good. 300 feet is a very good distance. You're not gonna burn in a burn ban.
I guess maybe the question is the timing between the time the permit is issued, you have X number of hours, days, whatever, to burn? Is that,
I don't know where the 30 days has come from, because it's not in code. So if that's a state, I'm not sure.
I can tell you after the hurricane, I had 90 days for permanent window to burn mine.
See, and that, so then, and it may just be a procedure that whoever is giving the approval at that time sets. But I have not seen a timeline in here, so to Amanda's point, that might be the route to look at as far as putting a timeline in the code that makes it more strict on timing.
I mean, I guess from my perspective, I think it's reasonable to say you have X number of time to actually do the burning, because the wind conditions and environment and all of those can change. It can't just be an open-ended permit, right? Somebody may not just be aware that there's drought conditions or whatever. So, is there an example of a permit that we've issued recently that has like a time or something on it?
I haven't seen one.
It's
Seen
on the-
signs.
Do you have a suggestion, Eric?
There's a gentleman.
It's on a city website, the burn permit. I got one, and I was wrong, it's 60 days, not 30 days, but there's a whole.
60 days.
There's a whole thing you gotta submit and approve, and he comes out to your house and checks out everything, and then gives you a little sign you can put in your yard. And it's good for 60 days, and you're supposed to call 24 hours before you actually burn to make sure that the wind conditions and all that kind of stuff is okay.
Okay,
Yeah. and
that
that's
makes a
all-
little
I
bit
see
more
that
sense.
Well, and that's all.
I think
that's all
making
in the
that
permit.
happen is follow through with that 24-hour window would be,
Okay.
That
would have
I'm sorry.
alleviated our condition.
It's 2 days. It's
2 days.
Right, 2 days,
48
so
hours.
48 hours.
But I guess if that's already the policy and that's not happening, how do we make that?
I don't know that the issue was that he didn't follow the policy, they didn't follow what they were told, they burned more piles at a time, and for the current issue.
A lot of fires have a tendency to possibly jump somewhere. It doesn't matter if it's 4 piles, 16 piles.
I mean, if it's already put in place like that, I mean, like he said, the 48 hours and the whole 9 yards, I mean, that's on the resident to do that. I mean, me personally, I don't think we need to add anything else to it. I'm a very strong believer in not taking away people's rights. I mean, me personally, I believe it's stupid that you have to have a request to fire on your property to begin with, it's your property. But, I mean, if it's there, I mean, I don't find any reason, if they didn't call to verify that they burned more piles than they were supposed to, that's not on us to fix that. That's the individual doing what they weren't supposed to do.
And
That's just my
potentially
opinion on it.
their insurance that has to deal with
Yeah,
the aftermath
yeah,
maybe.
that's, I don't think we need to put any stringent requirements on anybody. I think
Did you want to speak?
No, y'all are doing fine.
Okay.
One, I'll just say, no knee-jerk reaction to a single incident. The policy, if properly implemented, is sufficient. Oakwood Shores is by design, has natural fire breaks. So if you're gonna burn one house, it's only gonna be one house. We have setbacks that are sufficient to prevent another house being burnt. And if they wanna burn all the trees down on their own property, let them do it, at the end of the day, if they make a stupid mistake. But, recommendation is no change to current policy, just enforce current policy.
Who issues the permits now currently? Is it gonna be Irene or is it gonna be
For now, the fire department again.
the fire department? Okay.
As residents of Oakwood Shores, I agree with what you just said. And also, your comment about common sense. Common sense is key, right? Having the burn policy in place helps the residents, right? You have a lot of trees up there. It's be very costly to have them hauled off by a contractor. When I was clearing my lot, guy come by, $10,000 to clear your lot. The trees are already on the ground. All I did was burn them. So I burned them for a few gallons of diesel versus $10,000 to haul them off. So common sense is key.
It's not common though.
And I'll tell you, Oakwood Shores is only a third of the way built out.
Yeah.
Yes, as we get, 78,
Further
90%,
along.
it might be reconsidered, but at the same time, the infrastructure that we're putting in for the city, we gotta pay for. If you're ever talking about growth across the street, you're gonna be in the same situation with them. So the decisions made today can impact future development, negative. So strategic planning, or thinking wise, knee-jerk reaction is all we ask for.
Something else you may want to look at is the water supply at Oakwood Shores. Fire extinguishers or fire hydrants out there are over 500 feet apart. And that's way further than the state law. Way further. And I was told when I was fire chief, if he builds a house out there, we'll put a fire hydrant right in front of his house. Do you have a fire hydrant in front of your house?
I do.
And
you asked questions, but yes, I do have one.
But no, that was one of the main things that when I was a fire chief, I argued about was not having enough fire hydrants out there. Yes, sir.
So would this policy also cover small brush piles?
I think it's pertaining to the large ones.
Just the
If
large
you're
ones
having in something in a contained burn pit, I don't think this is
not
what we're discussing right here. But another thing I thought about too is when you have a pile this big, it's not gonna burn in just one day. It takes multiple days to burn this, so that homeowner has to pay attention to it multiple days in a row.
Exactly.
So I don't know the extent of what happened with this incident, but I don't think it was just watched for 48 hours per se. So I think whoever it is needs to do a better job on watching their piles.
Is there anything in the ordinances really just to ensure that nothing hazardous is burned? So like you can't get a permit to burn in
I mean,
tires or?
it's specific on what you can burn, and you
Okay.
have to
Yeah.
fall within TCQ guidelines. They're gonna be more strict than we will.
Yes, sir.
The experience I had, the gentleman that came out to the house when I applied for the permit, I had two piles, I live in Oakwood Shores, and I have two lots, I had two piles, and don't burn them on the same time, make sure it's clear around it, don't use any gasoline as an accelerant or anything like that. I mean, he was pretty good about telling me what to do, so I can't speak for what happens, but if he would have listened to the guy that came out, I don't think what would have happened would have happened, so.
That was our same experience too.
Was
After
it?
Hurricane Beryl.
Yeah, if you listened to the guy, I think everything would have been fine, but.
Do you know if it was on a lot that was occupied with a house on it
I
or
know it
just a
was
lot?
not, it did not have a house on it,
Okay, so that's
but it was next door to
the
that.
person probably went out there and left, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
I didn't know all the details,
okay.
but it was good for discussion. Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, did you have something else? I didn't know if you, I didn't know.
No, I was just saying that I don't have a fire hydrant either out in front of my house.
That makes two of us. But I have plenty of water in my ditch if they need it.
We do not.
I had a fire hydrant because there was nobody else around me. That's why. So.
You just showed a good life.
Yeah, shows good life.
So, once again, common sense, like you said, look at the wind, source of water. If you don't have a fire hydrant, then drag water goes out there. Try to saturate it before, that's what we tell them to do in the county. Saturate it before, and of course, you go for it.
And you can always get to know your neighbor. If you don't have a house there, see if you can get some water from them. So, I don't think, do we have anything else to add to that, council?
Do we need to make a motion or anything, or just?
Not unless we wanna
No
change
action,
something.
no, they can only take no action.
Okay. No action will be taken on item A. Let's move on to B. Consideration and possible action on regarding ordinance number 26-539, amending Appendix C fee schedule of the Code of Ordinances by adding fees for water meter flow testing, fire inspection services, and burn permit applications.
Should we start and take
Yeah.
the free part?
Yeah.
So I wasn't quite involved in the fire part of this, but I can pick up where Trish left off. Right now, we are back to using contracted fire marshal, which is Chris Motley from the city of Freeport. So we're having to pay fees for fire inspection services. Possibly burn permit inspections, should fire department not be able to do it timely. The application, as I pulled up earlier, shows you have to do it within 5 days, and should a volunteer from the fire department not be able to do it, we will have to get Motley to do it, and he will charge us a fee. So to negate some of these fees that we're having to outsource fire services or fire inspections out to, Tricia, before she left, had requested we amend the ordinance to include fire inspection fees and burn permit. Currently, we don't have we take a permit, we don't charge a fee for a permit to burn. I'm sorry.
So you're saying this is amended to charge since we're having to outsource?
Fire inspections, yes. We're gonna be paying, it's no longer, Marcus was doing them in-house.
And we're looking at filling that position again, correct?
Oh, we filled it with Irene, but she's not fire, she doesn't have the fire background that Marcus did. She brings us health though, so we don't have to outsource health anymore. But that's as far as.
What kind of fee are we talking?
I'm trying to pull it.
I'd rather keep that money in the city to pay our fire guys if we had to pay a fee.
I mean, they're not, fire department's not gonna do our fire inspections for building permits and
Okay.
such, that's what this fee is for. Or when we have a new build that needs a inspection for building, for fire.
I was just
He
wondering-
charges us for
But
that.
on the,
I was just wondering-
specifically the burn permit, if the fire department is not available, Irene can do that. Is that correct? No.
No.
It still has to be an inspector.
He has to be familiar with that.
How many permits or how many times do you think you have to call Motley over? Would you say like a month?
I don't know, I'm not over that part of
It's about 30 to 50 a year, it just depends on the year.
30, 50 calls?
Yeah.
Because I'll just tell you my opinion, and this goes back to what I said a while ago, and nobody has to agree with me. I don't care, it's my opinion. I think that falls on the city. I don't think the residents should have to pay for the city's lack of having someone to fulfill that, like, oh, look, we got rid of this person, now y'all are gonna take the cost for it. And I mean, with the budget and everything else that we have right now, I don't think that needs to be put on the residents. I mean, that's just my opinion, but, I mean, it's not like it's astronomical, it's not like we're paying, $1,500 every time he comes over. That's just my opinion.
I mean, this just is gonna be included in any building permit packet fees for new builds, just as plan review would be, or anything our engineers look at that we are contracted out, and we try to put some pass-through savings to the city.
I disagree with
So
it.
you're saying 30 a year, Eric?
Yeah.
30 to 50, depends on the year.
What kind of course would you have to take to be approved for this?
You have to go to fire.
Fire school?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to be a certified peace officer, you gotta go to fire academy. There's a little bit involved in getting the certified fire marshal.
I'll see if it's greater than like 2250 or something.
So, I mean,
2500.
even at 30 calls a year, I mean, you're talking $3,000. But what did we do before Marcus? We didn't charge his
We
fees.
paid Chris Motley to do it.
Yeah, we pay.
We didn't charge the residents? That's my opinion. I'm saying the city should eat it. That's just me. That's $3,000. I mean, we've spent more than that on other shit, so, excuse my language, but I don't think the residents should have to eat that. I mean, you build a new house, they already pay the, impact fees, everything else, the whole 9 yards. It's $3,000 a year.
Yeah.
Sorry if y'all don't agree, but that's just me.
I've said this before, I'm a huge advocate of personal property rights, and I'm not a fan of nickel and diming people to use their own property.
Should we pull up all the fees then? There is a bunch of them. For real.
What happens if y'all do hire somebody, you're gonna take the fee away? Because once the government gets their hand on fee, they very seldom give it back.
Well, and that's my argument. We didn't do it before Marcus, and we had Marcus, now we don't have Marcus, so we didn't do it before, so why are we gonna do it now? I mean,
And Mark's not qualified, huh?
Well, Mark can serve as designee, but as far as fire inspections for plan reviews,
He's not qualified.
I don't think so. I don't know.
Is it something we can look at for the next month and then get back to this, or we have to
This
decide
isn't my
now?
item, I didn't bring this, I'm just presenting it
Okay.
because we have a
Yeah.
lack of staff here.
I don't know if we can make a decision now on this.
Well, and you might feel the same way about the other one, which is the water test,
Yeah, Cliff has another part of it.
the test fee. So several times a month, generally during higher billing months, Public Works has to go out to test these meters because bills are contested. Residents don't believe they use what they use, things of this nature. So we go out, we run a simple test, we document the results, provide the documentation. Takes 30 minutes to an hour, takes 2 people to do it. It's just taking that time and putting it towards that instead of other things that we can be doing. And unfortunately, some people use it as just a means to contest. It could be over $4.70 a month, which is an additional 1,000 gallons. And the fee is existing to, of course, reimburse residents, all residents, for the time we spend chasing that.
On the water, well, I would say like on the water, it would be, if there's an issue with the meter and it's wrong, then you wouldn't pay the fee.
Of course.
Right, the meters found to be defective or malfunctioning, no fee shall be charged.
So
The applicable fee will be on the next bill.
out of hundreds, we found one. And one was suspect. It wasn't even malfunctioning that we could prove. We just were on the suspicion that it could be. So we changed the meter.
Must have been mine.
So that was not the one.
Here's, y'all are gonna be pissed at me again, oh well. So here's my thing with it. And I'm gonna ask you, Kirsten, you do all the FOIA requests. Off the top of your head, just a random number, how many requests would you think you receive a month?
For this,
No, period, for the city.
I hear lately, I mean, I can't even tell you, I
Oh,
think it's been,
Quite
at
a
least
few.
since the,
How many people have you charged?
yeah, but that's different, we have state law, like, saying when we can. I haven't,
See,
I have
that-
maybe
that-
2 that probably deserve labor charges that I didn't.
That's what I'm saying though, is I look at this kind of like that. You know, I understand that's water, but I'm just really getting up to here with a bunch of shit, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Excuse my language,
I
but
get it, yeah.
you know, if you have a problem with your government or anybody else, you have the right to question them. You have a right to figure out if there's something wrong, if there is. And I don't think that there should be a fee to say, hey, is this right, is this wrong? Because anybody out here, do y'all know how to go test your own water or anything like that? No? You sure?
I don't know
Put
if
your
you
hand
would
up.
do it.
But,
I wouldn't, but yes.
but.
I mean,
that-
and
that's-
just to
that's
say,
where-
we do have e-metering systems where we can look at usage, and that is generally not. We try to go that route, and then when it's not, that's not acceptable is when it gets to this point.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we can,
also, that,
we can
comparing my
produce the
work is a
data.
little different,
We-
because I
we-
do it from my desk in 5 minutes.
We can produce the data all day long, in hour intervals for residents, show them what it's doing. Beyond that, they spend plenty of time doing that as well. We have to get out in the field. It's the last resort we have.
I don't know, I just, from sitting here, knowing what I know, off the top of my head, I can't remember, it was like 3 million or something like that, or something. Like,
We haven't even
yeah, like, that, y'all can kick me out if you want, but I don't think that, yeah.
And not arguing. I think from our perspective with the fees, it's not gaining money where there's not money. It's not charging a fee to make money. It's compensating for the time that we have to spend doing things that are decidedly non-productive. I mean, we know, especially with this one, we know the metering system. We know how they operate. We can present all the facts to everybody. When that's still not good enough, that's fine. We'll come test it. But you're gonna commit to $100 if nothing is wrong with that meter. It's taking time away from everybody else, is what it's doing. And that's why we proposed the fee.
Roughly how many bucket tests do we do a year?
Probably anywhere between 5 to 10 a month.
120 years.
You bring up where, so Trish talked during budgeting, she talked about the water and sewers. In 5-year span, you went from a zero balance in your fund balance on the water side to $500,000 contingency plan. And then talking about being able to pay $1 million bill for Hurricane Beryl. I think you're charging enough on your water side to meet that $100. If you go $500,000 fund balance in 5 years, that's a substantial increase in savings.
I guess if we were doing enough of these to where it was causing us to have to employ.
No, it's not the case. Oh, that was my voice.
Hey, real quick, what does the test consist of?
2 guys have to be on site. Well, we did one for you, Paul. 2 guys have to be on. Yeah, well, we observe the meter, try to observe for roughly 10 to 20 minutes before we run the water, to make sure we don't have any usage showing. And make sure there's not a toilet or something, running inside. And then we do 3 consecutive tests with a 5-gallon bucket at a predetermined amount, and make sure that falls within range. Now, it's done by eye, you know that, so it's within usually a couple of tenths of a gallon from 5, but it's the only thing we can do as far as the flow check goes. So you're looking 30, 45 minutes on site, then the documentation for it.
Yeah, I know you mentioned, since we moved back here 3 years ago, everybody mentions toilets and leaks in the front yard. So y'all can invest in the little meters you can stick on the faucet on the outside.
The vacuum breakers?
No, those things are garbage.
Yeah.
You talking about the flow meters that just screws on there?
So you can screw it on there and then you turn your water on or whatever. I don't know, Lux came out and did it to my house because I kept getting the same thing. Well, you got a leaky toilet. And I didn't know leaky toilet. But those things are probably pretty cheap.
And we can see it. We can see it right now with the meter. We can see somebody use a gallon in an hour at 3 a.m. We can see it 24 hours a day.
I don't trust that system either because y'all said put water in for 24 hours when I'm using my house and there's no way. That was 3 years ago.
Well, that's what, and well, I argue his perception or what he thought happened, but that's what we run into. And
I know it didn't happen.
if we have meters just saying, they're running, then we have to go to confirm that. It's just time. It's up to y'all. We don't have to charge a fee for it, but it's gonna get more too.
I think I agree with the man on that. If it became to the point where, like the whole issue you have where how you have to go out and manipulate all these valves and all that for TECQ, I think it is what it was or whatever.
Yeah.
If it was something like that where we need a designated person, and I'd be like, okay, maybe we need to look at absorbing this somehow, or whatever, but, I don't know, just me personally, I think the city financially is sitting in a position right now where I don't think we need to nickel and dime residents or go after more fees or anything else, or, that's just my opinion. Like I said,
I understand. That was like, that was my portion of it.
Do we still have any issues with, like, the meters where, I know there were some in the past where, like, it didn't read and then.
Yeah, they fell in 2 manners. They run backwards, or they stop reading altogether.
Can I get one of those on my house?
That's it. That's the only way we've ever found them to fail.
Yeah, which I think would account for sometimes, like, you have like a low bill and then all of a sudden it jumps up because like it didn't read the cutoff time or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's correct. It could be. But those things get questioned as well.
Fix that problem, but we got that second base station, right? That fixed a lot of the connectivity issue.
Yeah.
That was.
That's what it was. We got it, it went live some months ago. I don't
Yeah, it does, but we have rotating issues with the meters sometimes. We have to check several connections monthly, but it still does happen. That raises questions too.
Yeah, I think that really accounts for a lot of it. I don't know.
Yeah, most of it is just contesting water bills. A lot of people use the same amount of water. 85% of our users are 5,000 gallons or less.
Right.
And when it jumps to any degree, I don't know how to say it otherwise, but people just lose their mind. And they pull out every stop they can.
Do you wanna table section A, but leave B alone on this one? In regards to the water fees?
I don't think anyone's
I don't
proposing to
think-
add
Oh,
any
yeah.
fee.
So table, I mean,
Yeah.
let it die for all of it then.
Yeah, I think both of them just need to go away.
Okay. They shall go away. And C, no items removed from consent agenda. Move on to executive session. Pursuant to chapter 551.072, deliberation regarding purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. One, regarding potential acquisition of property for public works purposes, including the Lisco property and comparable commercial properties within the city of Richwood. The time is now 6:40. Council will adjourn for executive session.
designs like that. This is like a brush my eye.
Like you have another
It's good for shortest session back there in a long time.
Amen.
Oh. Okay, the time is now 6:55 and council has returned to our regular meeting. Council has decided to reconvene when there is agreement on the table. Okay. Moving on to capital improvements projects update.
There's nothing new, council, just that CDBG has been fully closed out, punch list items are done, and nothing really new at this time.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to city manager report.
Mayor, council, I would like to, I think y'all all, she decided to sit through a council meeting, so she's obviously tough. And, the only thing I've got on the manager's report, different than Friday, is we now have a start date for Carol. Our new finance director should be starting on the 21st, and we.
Okay, moving on to council member comments and reports. Councilmember Stallberg, you have anything to add?
No, nobody say safe.
All right. Councilmember Johnson.
Yeah, Irene, welcome to the club.
Thank you.
And also, I'd like a big thanks to Rebecca Cortez for joining the KRB. And also appreciate the fire department doing the movie night. When was that, last week?
Yes.
Yeah, last week, so thanks.
Earl. Crickets. Councilmember Yearson.
Yeah,
I got plotting stuff over here.
oh no, I've been like that for a month now. So, all I will say is, if you truly care about your city, come to the council meetings, pay attention to what happens. You know, do your research, do your investigations, look into everything. Ignorance is bliss, but you know, it's not an excuse for not knowing. You can find out anything you need to know. You know, there's plenty of ways to be involved in the city. There's plenty of different boards, everything else. Shoot, ask me, I'll give you everything I got. I don't care. Everybody knows that. But also, one thing that Richwood's always lacked on is voting. Elections are May 5th, I think it is. If I remember correctly, come out and vote. Let your voice be heard. You know, we're all trying to push Richwood in the right direction, I think.
That is, sir.
For now.
All right. Councilmember Fountain. Huh?
How does that work with the election?
Comment.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, this is your last one to make a comment.
Okay.
They get sworn in before it starts.
Real quick on it, thanks to everyone's help while I was able here to serve here. I'll stay in touch with it. I wish all the best to incoming council members and, like Will said, get out and vote and it'll be there. Learned a lot with it, so I may be back. I just don't know. I gotta get through high school with the twins, so. And then, I don't know what's gonna happen.
You might want to come back quicker than you think.
I know, right? So, but that's pretty much it.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I would just like to add, Trish, we wish her well in her new endeavors with her new city. Welcome aboard our new employees, which I've already got 3, 4 in previous cities. I don't care, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for all the council who may or may not be here next time, and everybody just stay safe. The temperatures are warming up, and watch out for mosquitoes. They're getting really bad. So that's all I have. Oh, and happy birthday to my daughter if you we have any items of community interest?
As previously mentioned, election day is May 2nd. We'll have voting here from 7 to 7. Early voting starts on April 20th, and we will have, the closest location for early voting is going to be the Civic Center. Most people are aware of that. And then that same weekend of elections is the KRB Spring Cleanup on that Saturday. So come vote and go clean.
They've been doing a good job on Facebook. Goodness. I'm happy to hear that. How's our drop-off boxes been doing? Do we, anybody know?
To me, no news is good news. I haven't heard.
More mattresses?
It's not that bad.
They put them on 523, I guess.
It's a little out of control every now and again, we call an 800 number. Not bad.
I think we do. Time is now 7:01, and with no items